let me bring in Syed Asad Abbas, because Shubhrashtra raises that question and she wants to understand, how does this law discriminate against Indian Muslims if it seeks to give citizenship to persecuted minorities in Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan?
Gaurav Saab, I have always been forthright in the debates, especially today on the CAA front. Let me make this very clear. I've always believed if there is great power, there is responsibility and accountability. And to me, as a young Indian Muslim, I think I need to be responsible in the next statement that I make. Let me make it very clear to you, Sahab. The CAA now, it does not concern any citizen of India, be it Muslim, Hindus or anybody. It does not snatch away anybody's citizenship. What does the CAA speak of? It's provisions made for Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the religious minorities there. But I tell you, sir, I have my bone of contention and my reservation here. The CAA principally challenges the Constitution's enriched act of the principal secularism. The fact why is religion becoming a participle or a test of giving citizenship? That is precisely. Also, as a matter of fact, when we've mentioned about Hazaras, Ahmadiyas, and Shias, let me tell you, they are not even considered Muslim by Pakistan. They're the most persecuted, I would certainly say. There hasn't been provisions in the same CAA. There are provisions of asylum, but that has existed over the long time. Why in the CAA we don't have the mention of the same? Not just that. There are my Hindu brothers.
Why don't we have mention of Sikhs? Of course, there's mention of Sikhs.
Bangladesh.
There's very specific mention of Sikhs, sir. But I want to stay on the specific aspect that you have raised. You have raised a very fine point, and I want to get back to Syed Asad Syed Asad Abbas very rightly points out that CAA does not discriminate against any Indian Muslim. So I again want to come back to that point. Why are some Indian Muslims or some others up in arms? I want to understand specifically on CAA, Syed Shah, that when it does not discriminate against any Indian citizen and wants to give citizenship to persecuted minorities, it's a very specific act. Why this objection?
Gaurav, firstly, let me make it very clear. It's not the Indian Muslims who are protesting against a very divisive CAA. It's any peace-loving, secular, law-abiding citizen of India who has a problem with CAA, because it is very clear that the government of the day kept the CAA pending for 4 years. And just before the general election, the Modi government decides to test the waters and make a large attempt on religious polarization by implementing the CAA, a law that recognizes citizenship based on religion. So tell me, isn't that
I'm sorry. If a Muslim is persecuted in Pakistan, that is Pakistan's problem. Pakistan will deal with it. There are multiple countries that will deal with it. I want to understand, how does that impact elections in India? If Hindus, Sikhs, Parsis, Jains, these are religions that have originated in this land. You'd appreciate that. You will appreciate that.
Definitely, I appreciate it, because, like I said, I believe in diversity and inclusion. But here we also need to call out that once a bill's implementation has been dangling for 4 years, then definitely, this will be under the scanner. That just before the general election, this is being announced. So let me ask you one thing very clearly. Has the Ram Mandir issue kind of fizzled out? Isn't that like a trump card for the general election? Because I feel right now the BJP is sounding very inconfident. It's sounding very underconfident, because it's
then the opposition should be very happy. Then if the BJP is not confident, the opposition should be very happy.
No, so
that is why I want to understand this, and I want to take this to Shubhrashtra. The timing, Shubhrashtra, is being questioned. The timing is being questioned that this implementation takes place just weeks before announcement of elections, and Syed Shah Halim insists that the BJP is not confident. In fact, Manikam Tagore of the Congress party, he went on record to say that the Modi government will stop at 220. Abki baar 400 par is all, according to the Congress, just psyops. They will stop at 220. That's why in their desperation, they've brought CAA implementation just now.
I think it's good news for the opposition if that's the case. And I hope the opposition stops campaigning altogether, because the BJP is so jittery that it will win the national elections. I think opposition should just hang its boots and say that, well, we are totally coming in majority. And I think we should also get done away with this election hullabaloo then. But hopefully the opposition has some sense and will not campaign from here on, considering the fact that they have been underscoring the point time and again that the timing of the, notification is suspect, that BJP is doing it because it doesn't have, its house in order with respect to development. I really wish all these opposition's claims are correct, and we have a new, government at center, which is ruled by, I don't know who, maybe Rahul Gandhi, maybe Mamata Banerjee, maybe Arvind Kejriwal, whosoever. But moving beyond the politics of this, Gaurav, let me tell you, at whatever point in time this notification was to come, the same kind of banal arguments would have been made that have been made right now. Right now, the conversation is about general elections. If it was done a couple of months after general elections, there would be Maharashtra Assembly elections in questions. Post that, there would be Assam elections in question. Post that, there would be Bihar elections in question. So we are until and unless we have a one nation, one election policy, some or the other big state election would always happen. Okay. So people from the opposition will always have this argument ready.
Syed Asad Abbas, so is the BJP doing vote bank politics, or are those opposing CA actually doing Muslim appeasement politics, as some in the BJP question?
I'll tell you what's happening in our country, Gaurav Sab. As a matter of fact, Shibrasta ji made this point that one nation, one election. Well respected ma'am, there is a democracy and we'll come to it. The fact we need to understand, Gaurav Sab, let me admit on your show, there has been persecution. Many of my Sikh brothers that I spoke of who were from Pakistan, yes, there has been attacks on the Gurudwara. There is no doubt about it. No Indian Muslim, mind you, will not want a Sikh brother, a Hindu brother, or any of the minorities persecuted. But the question remains, why is the participle here religion? Why is religion a test of citizenship, whereas our constitution speaks of being secular? How can a secular constitution, a bill, a law be made on religion front? Also, as a matter of fact, Gaurav Saab, let me tell you, I was on another show where I learned there are Hindu brothers raped and killed in a place called Nangyan Shah in Bangladesh by the Rohingyans. Why no citizenship for them under CA? Why no citizenship for the Sri Lankan Tamil Hindu brothers? That is not talked about. Nepal is not talked about. Myanmar, no. Selectively, you choose 3 Islamic countries. Okay. Why, Shubrasta? Could you please answer me why?
Quick 30-second clarification. Why pick out only 3 Muslim countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh?
Well, Gaurav, why pick out 3 Muslim countries? Because these are the countries that surround us. These are the countries from whom we receive maximum amount of applications. A simple RTI query would have solved this.
Sri Lanka, are you aware of Sri Lankan crisis, ma'am?
Sorry?
You know the number of Tamil Hindu brothers of ours who are being killed?
And nothing takes away from their seeking
citizenship. As I said, Syed, you need to really file an RTI to figure out, make a comparative analysis of it. It's out there in the open. You can actually publish a white paper on it. Let's talk numbers. Large numbers and talking numbers. No, Syed, please understand. You say large numbers, I would say those numbers are cannot be compared to the numbers that come from these 3 countries.
So does it make
Why don't you file an RTI?
Stop them from seeking citizenship of India anyways. But again, that aspect, will this lead to the kind of agitation? You know, when people say, if you have an issue, you can protest, but you cannot resort to violence. There cannot be riots. That's very clear. And if there are riots, the government, of course, insists that strong action will be taken. If there are issues, go to courts of law. We'll be tracking that story very, very closely. To all my guests, many thanks for joining me.